Custis once again. We're just here for another episode of Chopping It Up with the Doc. A couple people have been trying to call in to talk to me about, just various issues going on in the community. Last week, we were supposed to talk a little bit more about diabetes and how to, just get, a good handle on it and stay in control of it. We talked a little bit about lifestyle modification, exercise, diet, proper rest, less stress. All those things all attribute to your sugars being controlled or uncontrolled. One of the things that some people have asked me about are just natural ways to control their blood sugars. I was talking to a friend of mine who's an author. He started using cinnamon, which is one of those treatments that a lot of people are not aware of when it comes to sugar. A teaspoon a day of cinnamon in either your oatmeal, you can mix it into your tea, but no more than a teaspoon of it. Especially, there are two kinds, and the most common kind, any more than a teaspoon of it can actually be a little more harmful than good. So if you stay around a teaspoon, you got a lot of room to play with. But a teaspoon a day, and what it does basically is it kind of delays the absorption of carbohydrates into the bloodstream. It helps to improve insulin sensitivity, and these things actually help to help people to control their sugar. I mean, cinnamon is available everywhere. Everybody seems to like the taste of it, and what I like about it, you'll hear me mention this lots of times, is that you can make it into a tea, or for those oatmeal lovers, I have quite a few of those around here. You can actually mix cinnamon in your oatmeal, and that's actually very good for helping people to control diabetes. The other thing is, finding time to exercise is actually very difficult for a lot of people. I work a lot of times at my desk, and I make a point to stop whatever I'm doing, say every 45 minutes or so, maybe take a walk, do one exercise, anything. The key is that you got to try and do something every day. If you're watching TV on the commercials, do a little exercise, maybe some jumping jacks, some squats, anything that you can do just, where you don't actually physically have to go out to a gym. You can dance, all those type of things. But walking is the best exercise for pretty much anything. So if you can actually take a walk around the block, that would even be better. One thing that I was looking to do last week that I really didn't get a chance to do last week was I wanted to talk a little bit about depression. It seems to be a little more prevalent than I've seen in the past. I mean, people they appear to be really suffering out here from just a lot of things that are going on that they really don't have a lot of control. And it's bad everywhere. People suffer a little bit every day from just things that it just seems different, where they're just, you can't get answers to questions like you used to. A lot of things are automated. It seems like, you're just spinning your wheels over and over again. And, it just doesn't seem to be any relief for a lot of the things that are going on. And it seems to be happening more so than I've ever seen it before. And the one group of individuals that seem to be becoming more affected by it are men, which is I guess it's a little understandable. Men, in the community they're under a lot of pressure, working, taking care of family, and a lot of people looking up to them, especially in their households, to make sure that, things are running properly. There's a lot of stress going on. And, I guess the best thing is whatever the cause or the bottom line reason for it, I think it's important for everyone to start recognizing some of the symptoms associated with depression, and the biggest, I mean, the worst case scenario for it is suicide. I think suicide rates are steadily increasing, and that's for a lot of reasons, that are almost, I mean, you name it. I mean, there's just so many things that outside variables that are just causing all kinds of problems with people these days. So that'll be the first symptom that we talk about: suicidal ideations, or people talking about, I don't think I want to be here anymore. I'm tired of living. I'm ready to just move on to the next life. It's too much. I can't take it anymore. And when you start hearing that on a regular basis with people, I mean, hey, maybe we should start thinking about getting them some help. The funny thing about the medical industry is that we're quick to give medications, pills, pill therapy. One pill doesn't work, give another. Sometimes you may have to give another one, or worse, just keep increasing it to see if people's symptoms improve. I'm not against medication, so to speak, but what happened to couch therapy? You remember the old days when you used to see people talking about, oh, I got to go lay on the psychiatrist's couch. And he would sit there and he'd just listen to you, And I don't think there's a lot of that going on. I think that's pretty much the bottom line is people just need to be heard and listened to. And I think with more therapy, we can probably beat a lot of these issues as opposed to just finding medications to correct them. It's funny, I was talking about diabetes a little while ago. And I remember watching just a regular, I think it was a football game I was watching. And every other commercial dealt with pharmacotherapy or medications and all the side effects that the medications cause. Medications, I mean, just span from A to Z. Antidepressant medications, new diabetic medications, all kind of medications for your heart. And the interesting thing is if they weren't talking about medications, they were promoting bad foods. So you had medication, then you had fast food. Then you had medication, and you had fast food. I'm like, wow. I mean, does anybody see that maybe one is causing the problem for the other? I guess the need for the fast food is increasing the need for the medications. It was just like ironic that I was just looking at this thing. Wow. But let's get back to some of these symptoms. Well, suicidal ideations. I mean, just people just feeling like, I just don't want to be here anymore. Another symptom that I find that people tend to overlook are just lack of interest. Yeah, interested. You might have a partner or a friend, or it might even be yourself. You just don't want to do anything. You're not interested in going anywhere. You're not interested in pretty much anything. You just feel like you're just existing, going, from day to day. Not really feeling like you have made a sense of accomplishment, but you just lack interest in a lot of things. And that could be interest in things that make you happy, things that you used to find enjoyment in, like sports, or how about sex? No interest in even sex. And lack of interest in your favorite foods. lack of interest in visiting people that you enjoy being around. Just no interest. These are actually those symptoms that if we think about them, you probably know a lot of people like that, and then you begin to wonder, say, wow, are they are these the beginning signs, or are there more signs for depression? I mean, if you got somebody that at one point in their life they were very active and going out and smiling and happy, and they always wanted to do something, and they're on their job, and all of a sudden, they're like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, and then all of a sudden they're just like, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not getting anywhere. That's a change. It may be a subtle change, but it's a change. And when you see, like, hey man, hey miss, you all right? How many times do you walk past people in the morning and you don't speak to them? Do you realize that you may be the only person in their whole day or even their whole week that took the time to just say hello and offer them a smile? You'd be surprised at how good that will make somebody feel. Because unfortunately, we really don't know what's going on in people's lives every day. And, you know, if you go back, you can think of a lot of celebrities or a lot of people that seem to have everything they could possibly want, and they kill themselves. Like that's odd. Then you find out later that these people were really suffering horribly within. And you're like, wow, these people can get up and entertain so many people and make other people just feel happy for the moment. And a lot of times we find humor in other people's tragedy that makes them laugh, you know? But then you wonder, it's like, wow, I mean, in order to be a comedian or an entertainer, man, do you actually you have to suffer a little bit to make other people enjoy what you're doing? Or I mean, it just it's a weird balance for them. And we lose people, and we say, wow, he's gone before his time. He was on top of the world, looked like he had everything. I would never do that if I had what he had. But like I said, we really don't know what's going on with people, and just basically how they feel every day. We may take it for granted. So when you see people, instead of you know being standoffish or mean or just trying to stay to yourself, look at people and smile, say hello, say good morning. You know, you'd be surprised. That might be the only time somebody says something to them the entire day. Imagine, how do you feel when you're walking and somebody all of a sudden says hi to you? Like, oh, hi. Why? That was nice. You know, I mean, it can, it can do something for you, make you feel good for a moment. I think a lot of people need to just feel good for a moment. You know, the other thing, another symptom, guilt. People that tend to blame themselves for everything that goes on. They're always, they seem that they're always sorry about something. Sorry this is happening. Sorry that's happening. I wish I could do better. It's my fault. Everything always seems to be my fault. I can't seem to get it right. It's my fault. And it's just like every time you look at them, you're like, it's always something. I just can't see. Just blame me. Everybody blames me for everything. The guilt. You know, people that are constantly talking. It seems to be their center of focus is just that nothing is going right for them. And it's like You'd be surprised. I mean, that's how common that is. I mean, I'm sure you may have heard that or even said that maybe once or twice today or this week, or heard it on a constant basis from somebody you know that's close to you. You know, that's you know, I mean, just take a minute and think about that. You know, you got people walking around outside, you know, and they're just hurting, and I don't know why they're hurting. You know, it's you got. I mean, I'm watching the news and I'm seeing just innocent bystanders being attacked by people, and for no reason because they just having a bad day. They just they're just tired of coping with life, and not so they take it out on innocent, defenseless people that just maybe just trying to get to and from work every day. I mean, the poor woman in the subway who was attacked by a man, and he beat and kicked her so much that she lost vision in her eye. Now we don't know the legal ramification behind it. I'm certain that they took him into custody, but are they going to find him that he has some type of mental incapacity? And will he be released on medication back into the community? I don't know. I mean, is that the best treatment? I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to make an opinion on that, but, I'm sure other people have opinions about that. My biggest thing is I said, there was nobody there to help her. No one. You know, no law enforcement, and cameras, but there was nobody there. I mean, one guy appeared to come out of nowhere to try to help, and the guy looked at him and he ran away, and then that was it. So I wonder how many people were actually aware of what was going on and just watching it, but no help. I mean, this helpless feeling that you see out here is a little more prevalent than we might want to believe. Where you see people hurting and we just ignore it, saying, "Thank God it's not me. Better you than me." But what happens when it is you? Nobody reaches out to help you. Where's our compassion for everybody else? Where's our? I mean, where's the ability to just go up and just say, "Hey, man, can I help you?" You know, I can't even say that people would even want your help because they're so afraid that you may take advantage of them. I mean, that's the world is just become so defensive, where you don't know who has good intentions and who doesn't. It's unreal. I mean, it's hard to see what's going on out here. Another one of the symptoms before we take our break is just lack of energy. Man, these are the people that are just always tired, sleep all day. You know, you go to can wake up after an 8 hour nap, eat something, and go sleep another 8 hours. They just have no interest in doing anything, and the only thing they can think of is just sleeping. Just sleep. I mean, just no energy. Just I don't feel it. They might be just sitting in the chair, say, "Hey, man, let's go out. Let's play some ball." I don't feel it. Nah, I'm too tired. Got it. So, man, no interest. They don't. I mean, they can't find enjoyment in anything. They got no energy. They're just like, they just become that couch potato that's just vegging out. You know, I always use the analogy of my seniors. Depression is very high in the senior population. And I remember I used to always say to people when I go to visit, I used to do a lot of house calls. And they always seem to be sitting in a room by themselves, just staring. I'm like, you do this all day. You gotta get out. What are you waiting for? I used to always make a joke and say, you know what? When he's ready for you, he'll come. So you don't have to sit here and wait for him. You gotta go live your life as best you can, and you know, people. I used to sit there and look at them, and they just sit there all day long. And I was visiting some family members, and I remember the dad sitting in one room in his wheelchair, and the mom sitting in another room in her wheelchair. You know, just sitting. So they sit there in a chair all day, they sleep, they eat there. You know, they gotta go to the bathroom. They might either need assistance or they may be incontinent. Um, but I mean, just nothing. They're just there. I mean, they're existing. Just no energy to do anything. Just waiting to I guess it seems, in my opinion, their final day. So they feel like they're suffering in silence. So it's incredible. But either way, gonna have you guys just think about that for a little bit. We're gonna take a 5-minute break. Come back. We'll talk about some more issues with depression. Thank you.
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
Why do you ask that, kiddo?
Can I play with it?
No, absolutely not. It's not a toy. You know that.
Do I? I bet it looks like one.
Yeah, well, it's not. Anyway, I need it to protect you, your sister, and Mom.
From what?
From bad guys, like on TV.
But what about the 8 kids who get shot every day by mistake? Their daddies probably thought they were safe, too.
Where'd you hear that?
TV.
Yeah, well, maybe we don't believe everything we hear on TV.
Where do you keep it?
It's hidden.
I bet it's on the top shelf of the closet, under your sweatshirts. Is it loaded?
It's not. I keep the
In
bullets...
the boots with the red laces, and the chest beside the bed? I haven't found them yet, but I'm sure I can. You always told me to be curious. Remember when I found my Christmas gift? I'm a good climber, you know.
No, that's not what I meant. Look, I need to be ready if someone breaks in.
But what about when it's just me and Mom? You taught me to be brave. I could use the gun to protect her.
No, Justin, I promise. I'll teach you how to handle a gun when you're old enough.
And what if I don't make it to old enough? I could get bullied and decide it's too much for me. It would be so easy with our gun.
Our gun? No, buddy. My gun.
But it is our gun, in our home. Happens all the time.
I'll make sure that doesn't happen. I'm always here for you.
But Dad, you're not always here.
Sorry about that. No, I've been staying at my dad's place because of everything.
Here you go. It's your favorite. It's chicken noodle.
He's good.
Oh, wait, Dad. Wait, hang on.
Yeah, I know. We keep missing each other. I've been working out of my dad's house. Doing some reading. I should be working out more. I know it's important to stay healthy. It's just, I don't have the time. I just feel like I'm drowning.
Your turn.
In tough times like this, we know it can be easy to neglect your own health and well-being.
Dad, it's the girls. Oh.
What kind of dance is that?
While you care for your loved one, you also need to care for yourself.
You look good.
Go to aarp.org/caregiving for free mental health and self-help tips.
Sorry about that. No.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up. They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. His real name is Darion, and we call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's affection, attention, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. Just do it from the right place. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job. I'll say my kid's pretty dope. The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. His real name is Darion, and we call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's affection, attention, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give...
For the second part of the show, we were talking about depression. We started talking about just lack of energy, poor energy, things like that. That's where we left off at. I want to move on to another area associated with depression. That's poor concentration, poor memory, poor concentration. You find people just can't seem to focus. I guess like they're accustomed to. If they're studying for something, they have a hard time. Their memory is poor. They just can't seem to concentrate on anything, or not as much as they used to. That's one of the things that a lot of people. It's one of those symptoms that you really have to pay attention and notice it. People say, I'm trying to study, just can't seem to get it done. Some people might find it in that I guess what you call their work reviews or their performance evaluations may mention that their performance has been a little subpar lately. And that may be, one of those things that may be associated with depression. One of the other symptoms, believe it or not, is just poor appetite. Just never hungry, don't want to eat. As I said, they don't find enjoyment in anything, not even food. Just don't feel hungry. I'm not hungry. They seem like they're never hungry. I'm not. They don't want to eat anything. They don't want to do anything. Just horrible. Just not hungry, can't sleep. That's another symptom. Insomnia. Just they have difficulty falling asleep. They may toss and turn. I mean, if you have a partner that's watching you toss and turn till you finally get comfortable and fall asleep, or they have difficulty staying asleep. They might fall asleep for an hour or two and wake up and they're up all night, and you wonder like, wow, all of a sudden, they're just up. You didn't get any rest and can't sleep. They got so many things going on that they have difficulty with turning their brains off. They suffer from what we call racing thoughts a lot. And it's funny, you know, the easiest thing is to give something like Sonata or Ambien if you're on the professional side. You know, I tell people to try things like melatonin, sleepy time tea. I like tea. You know, I said, can't go wrong with a cup of tea. You know, have a cup of tea in the evening, put your feet up, turn on a movie. If you ever want to stop thinking about everything that's going on with you, turn on a movie. You'd be surprised how easy it is to forget the things that are going on around you because you're watching the movie. Your attention has now been directed toward the movie. Your brain has taken a break. And one of the things I notice, especially with people that are having problems falling asleep, they put on something, they got their tea, got their feet up, they're relaxing, they're watching something on TV, they're not thinking, out they go. Gone. Sleep. And I can't tell you how long they stay asleep. Some people tell me they actually feel like they've gotten a good restful sleep. Some people have difficulty still staying asleep, especially when the thoughts come back. But a lot of people seem to do well. How do you tell if somebody's having problems sleeping? Well, these are the people you find just always tired, yawning, taking naps during the course of the day. They always feel like they just haven't gotten enough rest. So they're always sleeping. When you're not looking at it, they're taking a nap at their desk. They're always taking cat naps because they're always tired during the day. So, difficulty with sleep. Just we talked about you just lack of interest in doing things, just don't know, just inactive. But the last thing, which is I think is one of the, just no desire for sex. Wow. I mean, in this world, that's like, you know, almost like a basic necessity. It seems like, but to actually have people say, just don't want sex, not interested in sex, like, wow, that's strange. Especially, I could say it all ages. I'm gonna say all ages. I mean, if you're an adolescent, teenager, young adult, middle aged, or even senior citizens, just a lack of sexual desire is huge. And you'd be surprised at the number of people that how common that is. When it's like, wow, you can't find enjoyment there, then we really do have some issues going on. Now, one thing is, hello. One
Yes.
thing, hello,
Yes.
hi.
Hi.
Okay, I don't know who am I speaking to. I'm sorry, we have a live caller on the air.
Yes, you do. You do have some issues, sir. And I was listening to your conversation and very enlightening. So yes, my name is Louise Jones, and I am in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, well, welcome to
Hi.
the show.
Thank you, sir. Great to
All
see you.
right, very good. What's on your mind?
Well, I just would like to talk about the fact that suicide is very prevalent, and I find that more men have emotional issues, and because they don't have an outlet, they take their life because it's too much for them to handle.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, but that's one of the things we were talking about earlier today is that people there's no place for people to get answers anymore. Nobody, I mean, we don't have gone are those days where we had the couch therapy with the psychiatrist, um, or even a lot of times with the pastors in your churches, just being able to sit down and
Right.
nobody to talk to.
Yeah. And
You
you
know,
know, today's world is I find it's different for men because they don't open up and they keep it all inside. I had a friend of mine just last week. Her grandson shot himself in the head, and he was graduating from college the next week. And
hmm
so I can't imagine what a child would be going through to make them want to take their life, and that things could be so bad. When you see him, he's smiling, he's happy, and then all of a sudden he's gone. I mean, and to me, when you shoot yourself in the head, you don't plan on coming back. It's not a rescue. You want to leave this world.
yeah. I mean, that's one of the things, when people have actually told me in the past that they just didn't want to live anymore.
Yeah,
One of the telltale signs, I would ask them and say, so you actually want to hurt yourself, or
yeah,
do you want to kill yourself? And you would ask them sometimes and say, do you have a plan to do that?
right,
If they're really, really serious and committed about hurting themselves, they'll actually tell you their plan. And it may say, I've actually heard people say, yes, I'm going to take a gun and kill myself. And say,
right.
wow, you have access to a firearm, and at that point you have to notify someone and say, I need help with this gentleman right away. But the thing is
Right.
that if you look and you can, some of the things I was talking about when it comes to people, we see people every day, you
Right.
know, and you can tell when something's not right, with
Yeah.
the person next to you or a person that you see every day. You can always tell when something's different. But, and this is what society is. This is what's happened in society, especially with men. You know,
Yeah.
men, for some reason or another, somewhere along the line, I can't tell you when it started, they felt as though they got a feeling that if they express themselves, it may be a sign that they're not really manly or they're weaker.
Yeah. They're
Um,
weak.
you
Mhm.
know, and so they suffer from that social stigma, so to speak. Where
Right.
people say, I gotta, I'm a man, I gotta toughen up, I gotta be able to deal with these problems, because if I fall apart, then people just they see me a certain kind of way, and that's not necessarily the case, but trying to get across to people that it's okay to ask for help, but
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, having somebody that you're close to realizing that you have a problem, say, hey man, I'm here for you, and you can
Yeah.
just be there, just say, what, let's talk. What's going on? What's happening?
Right.
You know,
Right.
but we don't do that enough. We're not doing that. And I'm
No.
sure, that there was something, everywhere you look and you see these kinds of tragedies, you can look back and say, wow, I saw this person every day. He was just staying to himself. What was going on with him? Did he
Yeah.
have a girlfriend that left him? You know how many people I've heard that their girlfriends left them and they kill themselves after their girlfriend leaves them? Like,
Isn't that sad?
no, it's beyond sad. Like you say, it's tragic. But the thing is that
It
why
is.
is it that we allow people? Why is the world allowing anyone to suffer on their own? I mean, if we're if we're a community, then we should be there for one another. But we're not,
That's right. Nope.
and
We're not.
that's the biggest thing. You know, we watch people get physically assaulted. We watch
Yeah.
people get domestically assaulted. We watch
Yeah.
people get, we watch people have all kinds of problems, and nobody's there. We don't have enough people around to pick them up. So,
No.
or just
And
say,
people
hey,
don't. They don't have the compassion anymore.
no,
And it's a sad society today that everybody is for themselves.
Well,
Nobody
what
really
happened?
cares. And
What
yeah,
happened?
what happened?
What happened? Why are
Well,
people like that?
they took God out everywhere.
Where I mean, what they did, they did. They took it out of school, took it out everywhere. But the thing is, what
Took
happened
'em
to
out.
people? What happened to them? I mean, I sit here, I'm like, wow. It's like this is really going on. People can say or treat you any kind of way these days, and there's no accountability for it. And
Nope.
you just made to walk away. You may feel somewhat inferior after an altercation with someone because it was just like why did they do that? Why did they act like that? No, it's not necessary. People. I mean, we're driving down the highway and somebody threw a cup of coffee at us. We're like,
That's
are we
crazy.
going too slow?
Right.
you
Was
know,
it that serious?
Why'd you throw a cup of coffee? It's not that, I mean, I could feel some kind of way from somebody throwing a cup of coffee at me. But why are you so angry that you feel like you gotta throw a cup of coffee at someone else in another vehicle? Why do you
Yeah.
feel like I mean,
Yeah.
what's going on I mean, the world has gotten so bad, you know, that people they just don't they have no place to go, nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
I'm
Nope.
like, what happened to your bestie? We've all had we grew up with besties. You have a bestie, right? You know,
Right.
when you had a bad day, you call your bestie. You sit on the phone. We used to sit on the phone 8, 9 hours. Remember those days?
Oh yeah.
No, you sit on the phone talking to somebody. Maybe the old house phone with the long cords. You sit there on the phone, and you talk on the phone so long, your ears are splitting, your face hurts, but you talk all day. Sometimes you be on the phone so
All
long,
day.
you fall asleep on the phone with them, waking up like, oh, we fell asleep. Well, you want to hang up? No, 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 I ain't ready to hang up. Remember those days?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
and you know what? Sometimes if they were to hang up, that's the last time you'll talk to them because you didn't give them that extra minute.
Nah, but the funny thing is that I mean, what happened to those people? What happened to your bestie that used to be just call and talk? My wife teases me all the time. I get on the phone with her friends. I'm not a real talkative person, in general, but it seems like she said, you get on the phone with your friends, you're on the phone for hours. And I don't even realize I'm on the phone with them for hours. But it's just like, and you're not really talking about much, but,
Mhm.
talking to people is therapeutic.
Mhm. Mhm.
Getting different points of views from people is therapeutic. It can make you feel better. It can do a
Yeah.
lot for you. And sometimes, not only that, not only for you, but you're like, hey man, you're calling me. What's going on? Hey man, just call and see what's happening. Might sit on the phone talking about football. Guys do that. They talk about sports, talk about God knows what they're talking about. But for that moment, they're not thinking about what's going on in the world.
No.
And the thing is that, maybe that's enough to give them one more day or one more
Just
week,
one more.
you know,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
make them like, man, you know what? I got a friend out here, man. I matter. Because men are just not people that bond well. And
No.
now there's no places for people to go anymore. I mean, now everything is thumb therapy. You're texting and everything is over the computer. A lot of people don't really go out anymore to socialize. So
Nope.
people have become more loners, I think, or introverted, so to speak. They spend their
Yeah.
time on computers.
Yeah.
I think people in general were made to interact with one another. And I mean, another example, I mean, my grandson, everybody's like, he's not talking a lot. He doesn't talk well. And I said, you know what? The reason why he's not talking well is that he's not around other children. With this
Mhm.
pandemic, he's not around other children. And so when we talk to him, I said,
Right.
no, it's different. They
Not
need
the
to be
same.
around.
Different. But.
They need to be around other people. And it's funny,
Mhm.
once he started school, now I can understand him. He speaks in sentences. I mean, it just happened like overnight.
Right.
It's that socialization. Socialization is important. You must
Yes.
have it. It's at all stages of life, whether beginning or end. If you don't have those socialization things happening, Carolyn, you just you know
You don't have a purpose.
you want to die.
Yeah.
I
Nothing to
mean,
live for. It's
yeah,
crazy.
think about the senior citizens. Look at men in general. What do? They have a household. They get up in the morning, they go to work. All right, they work all day. They come home, they go to bed, they get up, they go to work, and that's pretty much the gist of their activities. If they're home on the weekends, that's great. But for the most part, if you have a family,
Right.
everybody's so caught up in taking care of their families, making sure Junior has, she has, he has, her, what they have, what they need. But the reality of it is that, well, does anybody ever ask you, Caroline, what you need? You spend all day taking care of everybody else. When's the last time somebody said, "Hey, man, what do you need?" You know,
Yeah. Isn't that something?
isn't that weird how that happens? I mean, your husband's there every day. Your significant other's there every day. He's out there struggling and fighting and dealing with the world and the way the world wants to treat him. But when's the
Right.
last time anybody ever asked him, just plain and simple, say, you know what, you're out here doing for everybody. What do you want? What do you need?
Yeah. You're being neglected, and it's time for you. And
Yeah,
I think sometimes it's important that we, take a vacation, take a break, breathe in, breathe out, and just enjoy life without the hustle and the bustle of the bills and the instabilities and the foolishness, and just have a time for laughter. Nobody takes out time for that.
nobody takes time for that anymore. That's the
No?
funny thing. People. It's funny. I mentioned that earlier. I said, it's funny we like comedians because they make us laugh. But the
Yeah.
things that we laugh about are the bad things that happen in our lives because they're. I tell people all the time. I said, you know what? There's no household in this country that's different from your household. And it's the funny thing. It's the funny
Interesting.
thing. Well,
So, so, Dr. Custis, do you make that statement because the average home is the hustle, the bust, the bills, you know, eat your food and go to work.
well,
That's the average.
not necessarily just that, but if you think about life as a timeline, okay, and you have basic household dynamics. You have one or two parents. You have other people, whether it be children or
Yeah.
somebody else living there. And you have these things going on in your household because that becomes a little small micro community. The issues you're having in that household are similar to the issues that's going on next door, the door after that, the door after that. Especially if you move in a community and and everybody's children are about the same age. So everybody goes through the childhood issues and the stresses of raising children. Everybody goes through the adolescent issues, the teenager problems. Everybody goes through the college issues and the young adult issues. And it goes on
Right.
and on and on. And it's in every household.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
And
never
people,
ends.
but the funny thing is that, so when you hear somebody like a comedian and they're making fun of their life, you identify with it, and you find it to be very funny. But the thing
Right.
is that, it's hard for you to find humor in it when you feel like you're being punished by it every day.
Yeah. There's nothing funny about that.
It's no fun. But when you'll pay money to go hear somebody else talk about it and you start laughing. Isn't that weird how that happens? But
It is. But
uh,
still, comic relief is good for the soul. It really
yeah,
is.
you need it. You need this therapy. And I sit
Yeah.
there, all I do is I'm like, wow. And we make fun of it, you know, but it's hilarious. But the thing is that if you're not laughing, you're crying.
Yeah.
You're not laughing, you're crying. Everybody suffers from the same things. We enjoy things when we enjoy our accomplishments, okay? And unfortunately, we suffer when we have our losses. And
Yeah.
everybody goes through that. It's how we deal with it. Sometimes,
Yeah.
hey, if you have a good support system and they're loving, you know,
Right.
but for the man, he has to always feel as though he's the anchor on the ship
Yeah.
or the
But
or the
do you
wall
think that
or the,
uh, but if you think about the concept of why a man feels that way, is it because it's biblical? Men are supposed to be the leaders, the head,
it's
the stabilizer.
I think it's just something that's been just passed down.
Mm,
I think it's something that's just been passed down. I mean, I think more and more men are beginning to open up and talk about their feelings.
right.
But I think we start looking at people like our grandfathers, our fathers, our great
Yeah.
grandfathers.
Right.
And, I can tell you, I never really saw when I was growing. I never really saw my dad too much. He left in the morning, came back at night, got early.
Yeah.
Only time you had to see him is when you were in trouble.
Right. Right.
Right?
No, that's a
You,
true fact. That's true.
you
Yeah.
knew he was around because you heard somebody say, "Be quiet." When he was around, you got to be quiet. When that one got to be quiet. Yeah, make no noise, dad home.
Right.
Dad's
Right.
sleeping. Get out of the house, dad's sleeping. You just knew. I mean, that's just pretty much the kind of relationship you had. You hung out together when they're a family function. You hung out, but for the most part, you never really saw him.
Yeah.
You never really saw him. I mean, the only person that really talked to him was mom, but mom spent more time with you than she seemed to spend with him. So the thing is, that's the way they live. I mean, it's like okay, and so you grow up seeing them as this strength figure, the person that's always
Mhm.
there to make sure you have a roof over your head, food. When you need something, he's always there if you need it. If you need him,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
that person in your household is, they're always there when you need them. But then,
Right.
and then the question you have to ask yourself is that, wow, I can't even recall how many times I've ever asked my own, hey, you know what, man, what can I do for you?
Mhm.
Because you're always doing for me. What can I do for you? And the only time we seem to even pay attention to them is Father's Day, Christmas, birthday,
Mhm.
and it's kind of sad. I mean, they're there all the time. If you need them, they're there. But for
Yeah.
the most part,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's a hard situation for them. And I to when we lose them, just like you said, the young guy, they seem to have everything going for them,
Right.
and all of a sudden, I don't know what happened because there's
That's okay.
nobody to talk to.
Mm-mm.
You know,
No.
and even if you can't, I mean, even if there were people that you could go and talk to, the access to those people is limited as well.
Mhm.
Because years ago, I mean, and this from a medical perspective, you had therapists that would actually talk
Right.
to you later for prescriptions. I mean, we've gone
Right.
from therapy to pharmacology. Give more pills. As
Yeah.
opposed to
Yeah.
say, what happened to those guys that say, hey, your hour is Tuesdays between 2 and 3. You go in every Tuesday from 2 to 3 and you talk and you work out your problems. And the guy says, you know what? I think you're all better now. I think you got it. If you need me, I'm here. You sit with him for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or a year, and you work through it, and he teaches you coping skills, or just
Mhm.
or just being able to express yourself. You kind of heal yourself, but they don't have that anymore. They don't have
Right.
any. I mean, and I think that's what's missing in the world. I mean, we used to have the church, but man, I say, you know what? If you want to keep a secret, don't tell nobody in the church.
That's the truth. The church has our issues. But the church is also the place where people come that are broken. They're supposed to come torn up and
Yeah.
messed up. But God, it's interesting.
Yeah, you don't want to tell nobody in the church. You tell people in the church, you're like, oh boy, everybody knows. Now your problems are way out there. So you don't have that. There's no sense of privacy for a lot of people and their problems.
Yeah.
I know we're talking about this suicide thing, but I read something the other
Right.
day that bothered me. And do you know that there is a 25% increase in sexually transmitted diseases all of a sudden?
Really?
25%. I'm like, wow. I mean, our first pandemic was HIV, I believe. I don't think HIV got nearly the attention that this COVID thing has got. And the
Oh,
COVID
yeah.
and the COVID issue, they came up with a vaccine in a year.
Yeah.
They have an HIV vaccine, but I don't believe it's been released yet. Yeah, I think
Wow.
they're still experimenting with it, so to speak. But I'm saying, I'm like, wow, a 25% increase in syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what in the world are people thinking about?
They're not thinking, and that's the thing. Emotions, it sounds like it's taken over. That people aren't thinking; they're just reacting and responding and just doing.
Yeah, I'm
And
like,
not.
what? I'm like, wow. And I'm like, I'm watching the whole thing fall apart. I'm like, didn't we just go through 20 years of safe sex practices? We just, it's like, use this, don't do this, don't do that. We went through at least a 20-year span. It's 2022. So no, wow. I'm sorry. How about a 30 or a 40-year span where we talked about safe sex to prevent HIV? So I guess now with all these commercials they got out saying that I'm undetected, and you see all these people on TV look like they're in regular harmonious relationships, that now people have gone back to just a free for all.
But look at the fact that monkeypox came out and just taking people out.
Well, this monkeypox thing, I don't listen. I can't buy into the monkeypox thing either. Listen. I know that I recognize that people that are subject to monkeypox are people that have their immune systems are compromised.
Right.
And there is a prevalence for a particular community, that are at high risk for developing monkeypox. And the reality of it is, whether it's monkeypox or any other sexually transmitted disease, I'm just going to put it out there like that. Hey, you got to protect yourself.
Yeah.
You got to protect yourself. I mean, abstinence is always the best policy, in my opinion. But if you're going,
it is.
But if you're going to be doing anything crazy, what's wrong with protecting yourself? Why is there a 25% increase? That makes absolutely no sense. With all the information, everything that you've heard, and this just goes to everything we're talking about. Nothing makes sense anymore.
No.
Why? People, have they become so bad that they just don't care anymore? Because that's what I'm beginning to believe. They're just that they don't care about anyone else, and they don't care about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here like, man, how do you fix that problem? What do we have to do to fix that problem? when did it happen? I mean, when did it become so different where people just like, wow, you know what? Heck with everybody else. I'm all about me. And I don't care about what happens to me. So definitely don't care about what happens to you. You know, I can't say
Right.
that that's the norm, but I'm just seeing it too much, and I'm seeing it more and more, and everywhere. I mean, it's just all over the news. I mean, it's all over everything. I
Mhm.
mean, you get the news reports. It's like, wow, again. You know, it's like, what do you? I mean, what's it all about? You
Well,
know?
do you think that the issues of suicide and this gun issue got worse when they just said guns are legal? People just start randomly just shooting people out of the blue for nothing.
People just, I just think we have some real anger issues here in the world because then, I mean, you've put people out here and you've taken away a lot of their choices, and you have no people that are you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere
The turn.
to you got nowhere to turn. You got nobody's answering you. There's no one.
Nobody.
Look, I mean, who pick somebody that you can look up to now that's going to give you the right answer. You know,
Good advice.
you
A
know,
mentor. Find a.
I mean, who's out here? I mean, I'm sure that there are business leaders. I'm sure that there are community leaders, you know, but are they accessible? You
Yeah.
know,
Do they?
I mean,
I mean.
is my door open?
Mhm.
And I said that my daughter said this to me the other day. She wants to, she's having problems with a class. I said, you have to go to the professor during her office hours. And she said, but
Right.
she says, well, it's a computer class. She says that I can reach out to her on email. But then when you reach out to her email, what does she say? Come visit me during my office hours. I said,
Right.
your office hours are inconvenient. I said, you have to make yourself available to these people, I guess, during the time that they're available to you. I mean, accessibility is really going to be an issue for everybody going forward,
Right.
regardless of what it is. I mean, for therapy, for men in general, I just think men in general just need a place where they can do, uh, where they can go work out their issues and have someone to talk to. I mean,
Right.
I've always had, when I was younger, I always had sports, so when I was really feeling bad about certain things, I just took it out on people on wherever I was playing for the day, and whether it was
Right.
a good day or bad day, it seemed to always work out. But, does everybody have that out? Does everybody
Right.
have that? I mean, you need to find people that you can talk to, whether it be your bestie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's always been the best thing is just your bestie. Just hanging out for no reason, having a beer, talking about whatever,
Yeah.
and girls do it all the time. You notice that? Girls always talking to their girlfriends, you know.
Right.
But guys, they may talk to their buddy once a day if they're involved in groups. Nah, they have someone to really work it out. But if they don't have that, they just, like I just said, they suffer in silence. They just keep it all locked in, and they don't have anybody to really work their issues out with. Because the thing is that,
Right.
like I said, Carolyn, is that all households are the same. So if you took every guy out of every household in the same neighborhood and just sat them down at the bench and said, man, what's going on? They'll all say the same exact thing. They all,
Yeah.
everybody, they're gonna all complain about the same exact thing. They're gonna all have the same exact problem with their children. They're gonna all have the same kind of issues with their wives. They're all gonna have the same issues with the community, with the world. But the difference is that they can talk about it. They can laugh about it. They can say, they come up, they can kind of work their problems out together. Everybody's the same.
Yeah.
Kids are going to be the same, 13-year-old here and a 13-year-old there. I mean, people used to come into the office all the time out there and laugh and say, I'm a killer. I said, yeah, you can kill mine too, I guess. Look, what do you mean? I said, what are you talking about? I mean, you got a 15-year-old. I got a 15-year-old. What's your 15-year-old? You know,
Right.
you know, what's your 16-year-old do? What's your 17-year-old? You know, and then when they get that age when they think they're grown, well, you got a grown up too. Okay, what's yours talking about? They don't respect you anymore. You okay? You know,
Exactly.
and the thing is that you got issues at your job. I got issues at my job. You tired of paying $6 for gas? I'm tired of paying $6 for gas. You don't like the president? I don't like him either. You don't like this guy? I don't like that guy. I mean,
You got it is true. I comment.
you can't. I mean, the people that forget. I mean, we live on the same planet. Our common interests and common problems are going to be just that, common. Everybody has the same problem.
Yeah.
So why would the thing is that the world will force people to fight amongst themselves.
It's
And it's
sad,
like
but it's true.
I don't have to fight again. I don't have to fight you. We're not the problem. The people that are doing the things to us, they're the problem. The question is we should have a solution as to how to get around their problems so they don't bother us. And that's the reality. That's why people suffer. And because they can't get answers. But the thing is that your answer might be the guy walking down the same time taking his trash out like you're taking yours out. Everybody got to take their trash out on Fridays, and the trash is due on Monday or Sunday, whatever you got to do. Everybody walking down the driveway same time before bed, take that trash can out. You see the guy every day. You never speak.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
You see him every day.
Huh? It's like that. You go to church on Sunday, you see them in the grocery store, and they act like they don't know you. Really?
Yeah, I see you every day. How come I don't see you? You can't say hi. Hey, how you doing?
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
How's everything? I mean, just sometimes I say that. It feels good sometimes when people just say hi to you because I mean, you don't know. It's weird. It's like, hey, it catch you off guard sometimes. That when somebody just come out of the blue and say, hey, how you doing? Like, hey, thank you. I'm all right. And listen, we're all guilty of it. I mean, some days I wake up and I forget to say hi to my own wife. I guess we just have at home. I guess we have just an implied hi.
That's true.
I guess I love you is just one of those things. It's just in the air.
Right.
I'm here. It means I'll always love you.
Yeah, you already know. You know I love you. I mean, why you gotta say it?
Yeah, but the thing is that sometimes I guess, and men, especially men, maybe sometimes they just need to know that somebody really just loves them.
Yeah.
It's funny. That's how the world just is. And people they depend on you all the time for a lot of things. But the question you have to, I mean, you begin to wonder, like, okay, do you feel appreciated?
Yeah, super important.
And that's the thing. I say, nobody's ever said, "Hey, man, I really appreciate what you do for me." And that's just that. I mean, it doesn't cost anything for somebody just to acknowledge. And
it doesn't cost anything to say I love you. It doesn't cost to appreciate and to thank someone for something. A lot of people take things for granted.
A lot of things are taken for granted, and you look at people. I mean, I look at Robin Williams. Remember Robin Williams?
Yeah, he killed himself, right?
Yeah, how about that? I remember when he started from Mork and Mindy, and he had a wonderful comedy career, movies. I'm thinking that this man got. I mean, wow. Even Steve Martin. Now, Steve Martin, he said he had some issues at one point in his life.
But Mr. Dr. Custis, you know what? I think that this will be a relevant show for you next week because these people we're talking about, these are bipolar disorders, and those are mental health issues that people are neglecting and they're not caring for. And for me, I'd like to be a guest on your show next week because I have a child that my ex-husband is bipolar, attention deficit, and dyslexic. My child is in denial that she has a disorder, and she's functional with it, but she goes from 0 to hero, and it's to a point where that she's toxic and intolerable. And I have 10 kids, and all of them have blocked her completely off of them, 9 of them, because she's so toxic that they can't tolerate her. They can't deal with the tongue and the attacks, and then when it's over with, she's like, "Why does everybody mad at me? I love everybody. What can I do for you?" And it's like, what? And so that disorder is so detrimental that if you know that you have it, get the treatment for it so you can have a successful, peaceful life, and people won't be not wanting to deal with you. That's a horrible feeling to feel like, my opinion, you hate yourself so much that you hate everybody around you because you're just not happy.
You're touching on something that's very interesting. And you know what? We can talk about this kind of thing next week, bipolar disorder and treatment. The thing is that I want you to think about it. It's funny. I remember I was going through my training. I'll just leave this as food for thought. And I remember my dean, he used to always look at me. He said this as a matter of fact to the class. I thought he was looking at me. He said to me, he says, when things feel like you just can't, days feel you just can't take it. When the world just feels overwhelming and you feel like you just want to hang it up. He said, I'm going to give you a piece of advice, and I want you all to take it. And we all looked at him and said, well, what's that? He said, go to the movies. And then he said, and you know what? He says, just stop what you're doing because life is stressful. And go to the movies. And I mean, I saw a ton of movies. Okay? I mean, I probably saw every movie that they put out. But one movie that I saw that's something that you can see, which would be a good movie for you to watch if you want to understand bipolar disorder. There's a movie with Richard Gere. It was called Mr. Jones.
I'm going to look that up now. Thank you for sharing that.
Mr. Jones with Richard Gere. It helped me to understand bipolar disorder from a clinical and a personal perspective. How to recognize it, how to understand. I think it was called Mr. Jones. And I remember it was bad. The actor in the movie was Richard Gere, and it was a great movie.
I'm looking for that.
And
I'm looking for that, Dr. Custis. And if it's okay, I'd like to be a guest on your show next week. I know you have to close your show out, but I want you to know I appreciate that, Mr. Jones. So when we come back, we can talk about Mr. Jones and the bipolar disorder.
Yeah, we can talk about Mr. Jones.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Thank you for talk on your show.
All right, no problem. I'll be talking with you all next week. For now, everyone.
All right.
Good night. Let's say good night to the producer, Mr. Courtney. He's probably still there. I see he's left me a message saying good night to everyone. That was about 5-6 minutes ago. But either way, we're over. We're out of time. We'll talk again.